In the northeastern part of India lies a state with great valleys, high mountains, deep gorges and rich flora and fauna. This is the vibrant hill state of Nagaland. Start your Nagaland journey from Kohima, the capital city. Situated at the southern tip of the state, it has a number of sites that are worth visiting. One of them is the World War II Cemetery, a symbolic memorial raised for the officers who had halted the Japanese advance into mainland Asia in 1945 AD. The place has great historical importance and is beautifully maintained by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission.
Okay, this place is very beautiful. So everybody comes to visit. From outside they come and visit.
Nagaland has more than 16 tribes and boasts of a rich and varied cultural tapestry. You can get a glimpse into it at the Naga Heritage Village at Kisama, a few kilometers away from Kohima, where the traditional Naga dormitories known as murungs have been replicated. Do not miss out the Nagaland State Museum that exhibits various artifacts depicting the rich, vibrant tribal culture of Nagaland. Well, if you want a first-hand experience of the vibrant culture, visit the annual Hornbill Festival held around the end of the year.
It's the first time that we are in Nagaland, and it is really amazing to be part of this cultural event. It's very nice to be here and to meet all the
Namaskar and welcome to Midday Prime. In the next 1 hour, we're going to bring you news and updates from India and the world, and updates also from the world of business and sports, plus some interesting stories that are making headlines. But first, the big news at this hour. India to host the 14th Conference of Parties of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Between the 2nd and the 13th of September, the Union Minister Prakash Javadekar says that the government aims restoration of 50 lakh hectares of land in the next 10 years. On his return from his Tri-Nation tour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits the residence of the late Union Minister Arun Jaitley to pay tributes and offer his condolences to the bereaved family. Home Minister Amit Shah was also present. Prime Minister meets world champion PV Sindhu, calls her India's pride, a champion who has brought home a gold and lots of glory. Sindhu becomes the first Indian to be crowned world badminton champion in Switzerland yesterday. Prime Minister asserts that all issues between India and Pakistan are bilateral. In his meeting with US President Donald Trump on the sidelines of the G7 summit, the Prime Minister says there is no scope for third-party mediation. Two terrorists apprehended in a joint operation by security forces in Baramulla. Warlike stores recovered. Pakistan violates the ceasefire once again. The army gives a befitting reply. The RBI to transfer a record 1.76 lakh crore rupees in surplus and dividend to the centre. The decision comes at the central bank's board held yesterday. And big boost to efforts to put out the raging fires engulfing the Amazon rainforest. The G7 pledges $22 million, while Britain and Canada also come out with additional funds to protect the forests known as the lungs of the planet, but Brazil has indicated its refusal of this support. And US President Donald Trump expresses his readiness to meet Iran's President Hassan Rouhani and resolve differences on the nuclear issue. Trump, however, says that the meeting is possible only if circumstances are right. So here's our big story. The Minister of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, Prakash Javadekar, today addressed the media at the curtain raiser press conference of the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. He did so in New Delhi, and briefing the media, the minister said that the UN Convention meet, which will be held in Delhi from the 2nd to the 13th of September, will see the participation of over 3,000 representatives from over 200 countries.
India is hosting this wonderful COP14, and we will have assumed the presidency during this, and India will be playing a lead role in combating desertification. For next 2 years, we will be the president, and we will move the world in the right direction by taking cooperation of all countries. More than 200 countries are coming. They have confirmed their participation. More than 3,000 delegates have confirmed. Nearly 100 ministers are coming. 94 have confirmed. And all the UN officials will be there.
And the Environment and Forest Minister also said that the conference of parties will focus on desertification and degradation of land, while he added that 50 lakh hectares of degraded land will be made fertile in the next 10 years.
We have taken a target, as our ministry has taken a target to restore 50 lakh hectares of land by 2030. So from degraded land, we will convert into a fertile land. So that is our main target, and we are also establishing one center of excellence in Dehradun to help the world to gear up the research and start learning from each other and making progress to combat desertification. So that will be our thing, and whatever be the New Delhi declaration will be there. That is the common resolve of the world. And that resolve, we will also take it forward and make an effort, positive effort, to ensure that the world also follows what Delhi decides.
So what is the Conference of Parties 14 that's going to be held in New Delhi next month from the 2nd to the 13th? Let's take a look at what the major themes at this conference are going to be like. So the major theme is Restore Land to Sustainable Life, and what it comes under that is health and well-being of 3.2 billion peoples are directly or indirectly impacted by desertification and land degradation. And also urban expansion is consuming more and more prime agricultural land. So that's a big issue, and there is an urgent need to effectively tackle that. Also, there's healthy land. That is for some only in the form of capital. Otherwise, they don't have that. It is a natural storage for fresh water. But when degraded, land loses all these functions, and close to half of the global population is living in potentially water-scarce areas. These are the big themes that are going to be discussed at the conference. Now, over 100 countries have already established their land degradation neutrality targets. India too, as we heard there, for the next 10 years. And some 70 countries that suffer from droughts are going to be participating in this important conference, COP14. Some of the other themes are the land-based solutions. These are envisaged for implementation under the land neutrality targets that could contribute up to 30% of emissions gap needed to meet the 1.5 degrees Celsius target under the Paris Climate Agreement. So this is closely associated with the targets of the Paris Climate Accord. Now, uniform indicators on the condition of our land resources are now being monitored at the national, regional and global levels as part of the Sustainable Development Goals indicator framework. All these themes, so they all feed into each other, and we can see that about 2 billion hectares of land. This is an area which is twice the size of China. This is already degraded, but it can be restored. So that's the big target. It can be restored back to health. And we have only one earth, and land restoration on a large scale will create jobs and opportunities for people. So over 4,000 participants from all over the world are participating in this COP14. The parties to the convention will agree on the actions each country will be taking over the next 2 years and beyond. So that is basically what COP14 from the 2nd to the 13th of September in New Delhi is going to be on desertification, restoring land to sustainable life. That's the major theme. So we are joined by our correspondent Nishant Saurabh, who is closely following this particular conference. Well, Nishant, tell us a little bit now about this conference. It's an extremely important conference. We can see that about 70 of the countries that are affected by water stress will be here. India has put forward some targets. Can you tell us about India's targets?
जी देखिए, ये काफ़ी इम्पॉर्टेंट कॉन्फ्रेंस है जो कि इंडिया में आयोजित हो रही है 2 से 14 सितंबर के बीच। और जहाँ तक टारगेट की बात करें तो काफ़ी एम्बिशियस टारगेट इंडिया ने सेट किया है अपने लिए कि जो जिसका डिजर्टिफिकेशन हो चुका है, लैंड डिग्रेडेशन हो चुका है, उनमें से 50 लाख हेक्टेयर जो ज़मीन है उसको रिस्टोर करने का ये नेक्स्ट 10 इयर्स का टारगेट है कि अगले 10 साल में हमको इस टारगेट को अचीव करना है कि 50 लाख हेक्टेयर जो लैंड डिग्रेडेड हो चुका है उसको कैसे रिस्टोर किया जाए, यानी उसको कैसे फर्टाइल किया जाए। तो ये एक बड़ा टारगेट है और इसके लिए पूरी दुनिया को एक साथ आना पड़ेगा, एक मंच पर आना पड़ेगा और कैसे इस टारगेट को अचीव किया जाए उस पर चर्चा करने के लिए ही ये जो COP14 है, कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ द पार्टीज जो आयोजित की गई है, उस पर जो पूरे 2 से 13 सितंबर के बीच इन इश्यूज़ पे चर्चा होगी। और अगर पार्टिकुलरली इंडिया की बात करें कि किस तरह इस टारगेट को अचीव कर रही है सरकार, अगर उस पर थोड़ी सी चर्चा करें तो हाल के दिनों में भारत सरकार ने कई ऐसे स्टेप्स उठाए हैं जिनसे कि इस टारगेट को अचीव करने में मदद मिलेगी। जैसा कि आपको पता है कि NDA 1 सरकार आने के बाद जो मोदी सरकार ने सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड योजना की शुरुआत की थी और आज देश के हर किसान के पास सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड है, या फिर उसके बाद पर ड्रॉप मोर क्रॉप जैसी योजना की शुरुआत हुई और जो किसान है उनको इंसेंटिवाइज किया जा रहा है कि वो कम से कम पानी का उपयोग करके ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा फसल उगाएं। तो इसके लिए इंसेंटिवाइज किया जा रहा है और पिछले 5 साल के दौरान आपको पता है कि जो देश में ट्री और फॉरेस्ट कवर जो गवर्नमेंट अलग अलग जो ये एफर्ट किए हैं, ये जो उपाय या योजनाएं शुरू की है, जो फॉरेस्ट और ट्री कवर जो देश में है वो 15,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर उसमें वृद्धि हुई है पिछले 5 साल के दौरान। तो जाहिर तौर पर भारत अपनी तरफ से लीड ले रहा है, अपनी तरफ से कोशिश कर रहा है कि जो भी लैंड जो कि हाल के दिनों में या पिछले कई सालों के दौरान जो डिजर्टिफिकेशन हो चुका है, डिग्रेडेशन हो चुका है अलग अलग वजहों से, उसको रिस्टोर किया जाए। तो जाहिर तौर पर एक ये इम्पोर्टेंट कॉन्फ्रेंस है और जो दुनिया के तमाम देश इस बार एकजुट होंगे कि कैसे इस समस्या को दूर किया जाए।
Also, Nishant, you did say that many of the top countries of the world are participating in the conference. Of course, almost every country is participating in the conference. But to tell us some of the key participants, and also, one of the big themes is urbanization, and that's the effect, the cause of urbanization, and the problems that it has on agricultural land. That is an issue also that will be discussed, isn't it?
जी बिल्कुल, ये अर्बनाइजेशन भी एक कॉज है, क्योंकि इस वजह से आप देखिए कि दुनिया भर में जो काफ़ी संख्या में पेड़ काटे गए हैं और इन पेड़ों के काटे जाने की वजह से ही जो ये डिजर्टिफिकेशन की समस्या हुई है। और उसके अलावा जो फर्टाइल लैंड थे उसमें जो रासायनिक खाद या फिर जो दवाओं का अधिक से अधिक उपयोग किया गया, वो भी एक वजह रही कि ये जो ज़मीन जो कभी उपजाऊ हुआ करते थे वो आज फर्टाइल नहीं रहे। तो जो अगर बात करें कि कौन कौन कितने देश आएंगे यहाँ पर, तो अभी तक 200 से अधिक देशों ने इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में पार्टिसिपेट करने को कंफर्मेशन दे दी है और 96 देशों के मंत्री यहाँ पर आएंगे और 9 से 10 सितंबर के बीच 2 दिन है जिसमें ये मंत्री स्तरीय चर्चा होगी, जिसमें प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी खुद इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे और उसकी व्यापक योजना तैयार की जा रही है। तो ये जो भी देश, चूंकि पूरी दुनिया का 1/3 जो लैंड है वो डिग्रेडेड है, डिजर्टिफिकेशन हो चुका है, तो इसको कैसे रिस्टोर किया जाए इस पर जी।
Right, Nishant, thanks very much for joining us, and let's go across live now. We are cutting across live to Bareilly, Raebareli. In fact, are we going? Yes, let's go across live now to Raebareli, and we are there. Rana Beni Madhav's birth anniversary is being celebrated. The Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is addressing the gathering. This is related to the 1857 revolt.
जिन्होंने अपने स्वार्थों के लिए भारत को जाति, क्षेत्र, मत और मजहब के आधार पर बांटा, वही लोग हैं जो छद्म देश में आज फिर 370 का भी विरोध कर रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि लोगों की आवाज को दबाया जा रहा है। ये वही लोग हैं, चिन्हित करिए इन लोगों को, एक एक करके चिन्हित करिए। देश ही नहीं रहेगा तो हमारा बल, हमारा वैभव का क्या होगा? हमारा सम्मान, हमारा स्वाभिमान, इस सब का क्या होगा? महर्षि अरविंद ने यही बात कही थी। उन्होंने कहा था इस युग का सबसे बड़ा धर्म है राष्ट्र धर्म। राष्ट्र धर्म से बढ़कर के कुछ नहीं हो सकता। महर्षि अरविंद से जब पूछा गया कि आखिर सबसे बड़ा धर्म क्या होना चाहिए, उन्होंने कहा इस युग का सबसे बड़ा धर्म है राष्ट्र धर्म और इस युग का सबसे बड़ा पाप है देश के खिलाफ गद्दारी। भारत सरकार 1999 में कारगिल युद्ध की विजय के बाद 19 साल के अपने एक जवान को सेना के सर्वोच्च सम्मान परमवीर चक्र से सम्मानित इसलिए करती है क्योंकि उस जवान ने अदम्य साहस का परिचय देते हुए जहां पर चढ़ना असंभव लिखा होता है उस असंभव को संभव बना करके भारत के तिरंगे को वहां पहनाने का कार्य किया। आखिर भारत के आन-बान शान के प्रतीक इसी तिरंगा को पहनाने के लिए तो श्री योगेंद्र सिंह यादव उन पहाड़ियों पर चढ़े थे, बर्फ से ढकी हुई द्रास की उन पहाड़ियों पर चढ़े थे, टाइगर हिल पर चढ़े थे और जब भारत का तिरंगा वहां फहराया था, भारत की विजय का उद्घोष हो गया था। लेकिन आज जम्मू कश्मीर सचिवालय पर तिरंगा का विरोध कौन कर रहा है? एक परिवार कर रहा है जो कहता है कि हमने देश को स्वतंत्र किया, लेकिन उन्हें तिरंगे से एक देश में दो प्रधान, दो विधान और दो निशान नहीं चलेंगे। भारत अगर एक देश है, उत्तर से दक्षिण तक, पूरब से पश्चिम तक, जब देश के अंदर कोई संकट आता है, हमारे मत, हमारे संप्रदाय, हमारे मजहब, हमारे भाषाएं, हमारी बोलियां, हमारे खान पान, हमारा रहन सहन सब अलग अलग होंगे, लेकिन पूरा भारत उत्तर से दक्षिण, पूरब से पश्चिम एक भाव, एक भंगिमा के साथ बोलता है, एक साथ डोलता है, एक साथ चलता है। योगेंद्र यादव सकुशल टाइगर हिल पर भारत के तिरंगे को पहनाने के बाद जब वापस आते हैं, पूरे देश ने खुशी मनाई थी। क्योंकि पूरा भारत एक है। हमने भारत को टुकड़े टुकड़े में बांट करके देखने की आदत नहीं डाली है, क्योंकि हमारा संस्कार नहीं। लेकिन जिन लोगों ने भारत को टुकड़े टुकड़े में देखने की आदत डाली है, वे लोग नहीं चाहते कि जम्मू कश्मीर के अंदर भी भारत का तिरंगा फहरे। वही लोग विरोध कर रहे हैं। और रायबरेली वासियों, राणा बेनी माधव वत्स सिंह जी की संतति हैं अपने।
Well, that was the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath addressing a gathering in Raebareli, speaking largely about unity, integrity of the nation and national pride and nationalism in context of the revolt of 1857 and a certain memory that is associated with it. Now, moving on to our next story, the Union I&B and Environment and Forest Minister Prakash Javadekar inaugurated a toy bank at a municipal school in South Delhi this morning. He spoke on the occasion. He lauded the toy bank. He said that it's beneficial for students as it will make learning fun. It will also bring joy to the children studying in the school.
मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि मुझे लगता था केवल दिल्ली शहर में खिलौने इकट्ठा करते हैं और बच्चों को खेलने के लिए देते हैं, लेकिन जब मैंने सुना और देखा कि देश भर में 5000 जगह इस तरह के टॉय बैंक प्रस्तावित किए हैं, मैं बहुत बहुत आपको बधाई देना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि ये सही काम है। अब दुनिया बदल गई, बहुत अच्छे खिलौने आए और अच्छे खिलौने आए, लेकिन उसकी कीमतें भी बढ़ी। तो वो जो मैं नहीं उपयोग कर रहा हूं वो किसी दूसरे के काम आए, ये देने का भाव और वही भाव एक सामाजिक भाव पैदा करता है। इसके लिए भी आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं।
And normalcy is gradually returning to the Kashmir Valley after the abrogation of Article 370. The situation in Jammu and Kashmir continues to be peaceful, with people continuing their normal routines. Movement of private vehicles in the city has improved and restrictions have almost been lifted in most areas, but security forces are still deployed to avoid any untoward incident. The administration is keeping the supply chains replenished. Most phone lines are operational. People continue to repose their faith and trust in the administration as development work picks up pace. And in Jammu and Kashmir, heavy ceasefire violation took place in 2 locations in Poonch yesterday. The Indian Army retaliated to the heavy firing by Pakistan. In the general area of Dalina Chowk, 1 terrorist was apprehended after a joint checkpost manned by the Jammu and Kashmir police and the army drew fire from a truck. And the second terrorist was also who had entered nearby a Mohalla locality, and search operation is underway. But 1 AK-47, also 1 pistol, these things have been recovered so far. And in yet another incident, suspected militants on Monday abducted 2 members of the nomadic Gujjar community from a forested area in Pulwama district. They later shot one of them dead, according to the police. Abdul Qadir Kholi of Rajouri district and Manzoor Ahmed Konomo of Srinagar were abducted by unidentified gunmen from Dok, which is a temporary shelter from the forested area of Tral in Pulwama. It happened at around 7:50 p.m. and this is what a police spokesperson had said yesterday. Now, he also said that the bullet-ridden body of Kohli was later recovered by a search and rescue party, while an operation to trace the other person is underway. We're joined by Anuj Yadav, our correspondent from Jammu and Kashmir. Well, Anuj, situation not sounding very good right now in terms of, terrorist activities are also coming to light. While the security forces at one stage, want to release or reduce the restrictions, the terrorists seem to be getting, wanting to thinking of that as an opportunity. So perhaps restrictions will continue in most areas.
देखिए बिल्कुल जिस तरीके से ये जॉइंट ऑपरेशन हमेशा लगातार कश्मीर और जितने भी इलाके हैं वहां पर चलते रहते हैं। ये जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस, पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस और आर्मी के जॉइंट ऑपरेशन होते हैं जो टेररिस्ट को पकड़ने के लिए, उनको हटाने के लिए होते हैं। लेकिन आर्टिकल 370 के बाद जिस तरीके से शुरुआत में कुछ फॉरेन मीडिया की खबरें आई थी कि यहाँ पर लोग परेशान हैं, यहाँ पर शांति का माहौल नहीं है, और आर्टिकल 370 को हटाने के बाद लोगों के अंदर नाराजगी है। मार्कलिन, हम जानते हैं, आप भी कुछ समय पहले कश्मीर के अंदर आए थे, आपने भी यहां से रिपोर्ट्स दी थी, और हम डीडी न्यूज के माध्यम से लगातार ऐसी तस्वीरें देश के सामने लेकर आ रहे हैं कि यहां पर जो आम जनजीवन है वो लगातार सामान्य हो रहा है। आर्टिकल 370 हटने से जो यहां की आम जनता है, आम आवाम है, उसको इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा है। लेकिन जो कुछ ऐसी विचारधारा के लोग हैं, अलगाववादी विचारधारा के लोग हैं, उन्होंने पब्लिक के बीच में ऐसे मैसेज पहुंचाने की कोशिश जरूर की थी। लेकिन अब धीरे धीरे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से जो लोगों को सुविधाएं मुहैया कराई जा रही हैं, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से जो बड़ी स्कीम्स है, उनके इंप्लीमेंटेशन के लिए जो लगातार यहां पर रिव्यू मीटिंग्स हो रही हैं, उसके बाद यहां की आम जमहूरियत को अब लगने लगा है कि सही में कश्मीर अगर आगे बढ़ सकता है तो निश्चित तौर पर यहां की आवाम को सरकार का, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का साथ देना होगा। हम सड़कों पर निकलते हैं, बाजार खुल रहे हैं। आज हम डल लेक के पास गए थे, जो वहां पर जो सब्जियों का मार्केट है, जो बहुत पहले वहां रौनक रहती थी, वो फिर से लौटने लगा है, दिखाई देने लगा है। हम लाल चौक के आसपास जो पटरी बाजार होता था, लोग खरीदारी करते थे, कपड़े खरीदते थे, आज वो बाजार की हमने तस्वीरें भेजी हैं। और कल हम कुपवाड़ा और लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के आसपास के इलाकों के जो ग्रामीण इलाके हैं, मार्क, वहां पर गए थे। हमने वहां सीधा सवाल लोगों से पूछा कि आर्टिकल 370 खत्म होने के बाद, हटने के बाद आपको क्या नुकसान हुआ। उन्होंने कहा कि आर्टिकल 370 के बारे में हम कुछ नहीं जानते, हम सिर्फ अपने इलाके के में डेवलपमेंट चाहते हैं। कश्मीर के आज भी जो इंटीरियर इलाके हैं, जो ग्रामीण इलाके हैं, लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के इलाके हैं, पिछले 70 साल के अंदर चाहे सियासत किसी की भी जम्मू कश्मीर में रही हो, लेकिन वो इलाके आज भी पिछड़े हुए हैं। लोग वहां डेवलपमेंट चाहते हैं, और यही तस्वीरें, यही लोगों की बात हम देश और दुनिया के सामने लगातार डीडी न्यूज के माध्यम से पहुंचा रहे हैं, और आम जनजीवन लगातार यहां पर सामान्य होने की ओर आगे बढ़ रहा है। मार्कलिन,
In fact, Anuj, those visuals you've sent surely clearing people's doubts. They are showing that life is pretty much normal in Srinagar. But I was on a larger subject, because there is an intensity in Pakistan's ceasefire violations. They are infiltrating terrorists into the valley. So in that sense, security forces are on their guard, and they are basically, not leaving any stone unturned, because at one level, the people definitely are, they are coming to terms with the decision of 370, but the security forces are not letting their guard down as far as, potential elements of terrorism are concerned.
बिल्कुल, आपने बहुत सही सवाल, बहुत सही बात आपने कही, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से माहौल कुछ लोगों ने मार्कलिन बनाने की कोशिश की है, चाहे वो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से की गई हो या फिर अलगाववादी विचारधारा या उनके संगठन के द्वारा यहां पर की गई हो, एक लोगों के अंदर मार्कलिन जो अलगाववादियों का डर होता था और जिस डर को पिछले 70 साल के अंदर बनाया गया है, उस डर को दूर होने में धीरे धीरे समय जरूर लग रहा है। लेकिन अब लोग इस तरह के लोगों की विचारधारा जो है उसको नहीं मानते हैं। सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस का निश्चित तौर पर डिप्लॉयमेंट, हैवी डिप्लॉयमेंट किया गया है, चाहे शहर हो, बाजार हो, गांव हो, और लोगों को कहीं ना कहीं काउंसलिंग भी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से दी जाती है कि आर्मी जो है वो आपके भले के लिए यहां पर है। कल जब मैं कुपवाड़ा के मच्छल इलाके के अंदर गया था तो वहां पे एक मेले का आयोजन किया गया था जो हर साल किया जाता है। कुछ इलाके आज भी कश्मीर के अंदर ऐसे हैं जहां लोगों का जनजीवन आर्मी के ऊपर, भारतीय सेना के ऊपर डिपेंड है। लोग उनको, आर्मी के लोग उनको राशन मुहैया कराते हैं, उनको स्कूल, उनके हॉस्पिटल्स की जो फैसिलिटीज हैं वो प्रोवाइड कराते हैं। और कल हमने लोगों से जब बातचीत की थी तो उन्होंने इस बात को साफ कहा था, अगर भारतीय सेना अगर उनके इन इलाकों में ना हो तो उनका जनजीवन नहीं चल सकता। कुछ ऐसे इलाके हैं जहां हैवी स्नोफॉल होती है, 6 महीने के लिए रास्ते बंद हो जाते हैं। ऐसे में आर्मी ही उनके लिए सबसे बड़ा सहारा बनकर आती है। निश्चित तौर पर आर्टिकल 370 हटने के बाद जो हैवी डिप्लॉयमेंट सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस किया गया है वो यहां की आवाम की सुरक्षा के लिए किया गया है और यहां की आवाम, यहां की जनता, कश्मीर के लोग इस बात को समझते हैं। और इस वजह से हम कह सकते हैं कि आर्मी चाहे पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस हो, अब जो है आम जनता भी उनका सहयोग करती हुई नजर आ रही है और पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस उनका सहयोग करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। आने वाले समय में जो कश्मीर की रौनक है वो वापस लौटती हुई नजर आएगी। इसी इंतजार में कश्मीर की जो आवाम है, जनता है, वो लगी हुई है।
Right, thanks very much, Anuj Yadav, joining us from Srinagar with the update. Now moving to our next story, and after returning from his three-nation tour to France, Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates, the Prime Minister visited the family members of the former Union Minister Arun Jaitley, late Arun Jaitley, at his residence and offered floral tributes to a portrait of the departed leader. And Union Home Minister Amit Shah also arrived at Jaitley's residence earlier and received the Prime Minister along with Rohan Jaitley, the former Union Finance Minister's son. Arun Jaitley, who was 66, passed away at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi on Saturday. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari today attended a business summit on Khadi on the theme Globalizing Brand Khadi, the Pride of India. Now, this summit was organized jointly by the CII and Khadi and Village Industries Commission. Various companies of textile, apparel, e-commerce, along with retailers and designers also attended the summit, and on the occasion the Union Minister said that Khadi is associated with Gandhi's vision of creating Swadeshi products. And also, to make it a global trend, we must think beyond the traditional weaving and create more designs by modernizing Khadi with the latest technology. Let's listen to what he said.
खादी जो है वो गांधी जी के विचारधारा का और स्वदेशी के विचारधारा का आत्मा है। और पहले जैसे मैंने कहा कि मैं इस बात से बिल्कुल सहमत नहीं हूँ कि खादी के प्रिंसिपल के साथ कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ न करते हुए खादी को मॉडर्नाइज करना, उसको आधुनिक करना, डिज़ाइनिंग में, वीविंग में, सभी टेक्नोलॉजी में, फैशन डिज़ाइनिंग, प्रोडक्ट डिज़ाइनिंग, ये करना चाहिए।
The 7th Community Radio Sammelan was organized at the Ambedkar International Center in New Delhi. The Information Broadcasting Secretary Amit Khare released a film to mark the occasion, and addressing the gathering, he stressed that community radios are very effective in dealing with local problems. They disseminate information in their own language.
NGOs of applicant organization, details of all get from ICAR. For NGOs or trusts or societies,
community radios have done wonders, particularly at the time of some difficulty like the disaster in, say, Orissa, or in the floods in the coastal areas, where because of shortage of electric supply or disruption of communication, the only way to communicate or to warn people or to request them to evacuate is through the community radio system. The beauty of the community radio system lies that each community can identify their own issues and prioritize their own issues and work in a way that the local communities get empowered by their own local people.
In a tragic incident, at least 16 people were killed after a truck overturned on two tempos in Shah Jahanpur district. 5 others were also injured in this incident. The DM and SP have reached the accident site. Rescue operations are being carried out. Also, the injured are being lifted and shifted to nearby hospitals. And we are joined on the phone line by our correspondent Ashutosh, who has more details about this. Ashutosh, a tragic accident indeed. Fill us in with the details. People are being taken to a nearby hospital. What are the chances of, tell us first of all about, tell us about the accident itself and whether, we have enough survivors.
बिल्कुल मार्क, ये घटना जो हुई है शाहजहांपुर में रोजा थाना क्षेत्र में नेशनल हाईवे 24 पर जम्मू का चौराहे के पास ये बड़ा सड़क हादसा हुआ है। यहाँ पर सवारियों से भरे ऑटो में ट्रक की टक्कर के बाद खड़े मैजिक ट्रक पर ट्रक पलटने की वजह से पहले 16 लोगों की मौत हुई थी, लेकिन अभी सूचना ये मिल रही है कि लगभग 17 लोग जो है मारे गए हैं, जबकि 5 लोग जो है गंभीर रूप से घायल हुए हैं। वहाँ के जिलाधिकारी ने और एसपी ने मौके पर जाकर के राहत और बचाव कार्यों का जायजा लिया है। घायलों को जो है भर्ती कराया गया है अस्पतालों में। और जिलाधिकारी ने यह भी बताया है कि ट्रक की टक्कर ऑटो से होने के पास खड़े मैजिक दोनों पर मैजिक पर पलटने से यह गंभीर स्थिति पैदा हुई। मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ ने मरने वाले मृतकों के प्रति संवेदना व्यक्त करते हुए जिला प्रशासन को तत्काल राहत और बचाव के लिए जो है निर्देशित किया है। साथ में उनको जो है राहत राशि पहुंचाने के निर्देश दिए हैं। जी मार्क।
Right, but Ashutosh, what is the cause of the accident? Can one, are there problems with the roads? Would you say that there have been issues with the truck drivers of late, some of the issues that could have caused the accident?
देखिए मार्क, जिस तरह से घटना के बारे में बताया जा रहा है, कहा यह जा रहा है कि मैजिक जो एक वाहन होता है सवारियों को ढोने के लिए, उस सवारी गाड़ी में सवारियां बैठी हुई थी और ये टक्कर जो है ट्रक और टेम्पो की हुई, जिसमें ट्रक जो है मैजिक के ऊपर पलट गया, बगल में पलट गया, जिससे ये सवारियां दब गई और उसमें से पहले 16 लोगों की, अब 17 लोगों की मौत की खबर आ रही है और अन्य लोग घायल हुए हैं। ये सड़क हादसा जो है गंभीर स्थिति बताता है कि जिस तरीके से सड़क का पर जो है वाहनों का परिचालन है, जिस तरह से सवारियों की ढोने की व्यवस्था है, कहीं न कहीं उसमें इस तरह की दिक्कतें जरूर हैं कि जब 10 सड़कों पर ये सवारियां भरी जाती हैं, टेम्पो जो है उन सवारियों को लेने के लिए रुकते हैं और साथ में ही बड़े वाहन भी गुजरते रहते हैं, तो अक्सर ये बात देखने में आई है कि ऐसी स्थितियों में दुर्घटना होती है और दुर्घटना के बाद लोगों को जान से हाथ धोना पड़ता है। जी मां।
Right, thanks very much Ashutosh Shukla with those updates. A tragic accident indeed. 17 people have been killed after a truck has overturned on tempos in Shah Jahanpur. And time now in Midday Prime for updates from the world of business. And for all the business news, here's Preeti Balla.
All right, thank you, Mark. Up next, we'll get you updates on the world of business. The Reserve Bank of India approved a payout of rupees 1.76 lakh crore to the government from its surplus and reserves after an expert committee chaired by former Governor Bimal Jalan made its recommendations to the central bank. Now, the transfer includes rupees 1.23 lakh crore of surplus for 2018-19 and rupees 52,637 crore of excess provisions identified under a revised economic capital framework, that is the ECF, adopted by the RBI board. The transfer amount is over 3 times the 5-year average of rupees 53,000 crore. All right, to talk more about it and to discuss its further implications, we're joined in by a guest in our studio. We're joined in by Professor Charan Singh. He is the CEO of eGrow Foundation. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this afternoon on Midday Prime. Let's talk about what exactly led to the RBI giving out the amount of such a scale, because we know that every year RBI gives the dividends to the government, and also, but this time around we've seen that it is as much as 3 times what has been the last 5 years average, that is 53,000 crores. So exactly what factors led to RBI shelling out money at such a scale?
Actually, one has to really look at the data of the past trend, and yes, you are right, this time the amount is really substantial. But if you look at the last 5 years or 6 years, 50,000, 65,000, sometimes even 30,000 crore gets transferred. Yes, to that extent, 1,23,000 crore is really something which compares with that 50,000. Not exactly 3 times, I would say on an average about 2 times. The remaining 52,000 crore which comes as excess reserves comes from a different methodology. So these two need to be disaggregated. I would also like to mention one thing: in the rest of the world too, in almost every country, the profits of the central bank, Reserve Bank in our case, does get transferred to the government. So this is not something very unique to India. This is something which is done everywhere in the world. Even in the USA, this is a standard practice. So that has to be taken into account. But if you recollect, sometimes in December 2018, there was a discussion about excess reserves with the RBI and whether those can be transferred to the government. And then the Jalan Committee had been constituted with various experts on its members, and the Jalan Committee submitted its report to the Reserve Bank last Friday. And according to that report, and I think it's a very scientific report, I haven't been able to read the whole report, but whatever has been coming in the newspapers and whatever I gather from there seems to be very logically being discussed. And of course, we have been reading in the papers the dissent notes and other things, the discussion and the quality of the report which is being prepared.
Which eventually got ironed out.
Which got ironed out, yes, that's right. Now, the issue is that according to the Jalan Committee report, there has to be some economic capital framework, and according to the economic capital framework, they said that about 24 to 20% of the reserves should be kept as the balance sheet, right. So, and according to the latest information coming in, it is around 23.3%. So, whatever was the reserves, whatever was the surplus, which is 1,23,000, automatically then moves to the government. The 50,000 crore which is separately the separate amount, it is the excess reserves which had been built in, and probably that has moved on. Now, I liked what the Jalan Committee report had said, and you should please remember that Dr. Jalan was in the Ministry of Finance for a very long time, and also in the Planning Commission, as well as in the Reserve Bank as a governor. So he has a fair picture on both sides of what the fiscal authority is and what the monetary authority is. Now, to some extent, yes, some of the reserves have to be there, the contingency fund has to be there, and then they stipulated that it is around 6.8%, but then 6.5 to 5% is a pretty prudent limit, and that is where the 52,000 crore reserves come in. So, I look at it from the angle of, if you have to have a robust balance sheet of the central bank, which it is, and which will maintain the reserves in the range of 24 to 20%, and if the contingency fund has to be in the range of 5 to 6%, which it is, there is certain amount of money which is with the RBI which can be released, and over a period of, this is the first year that it has been released, and I think in the next 3 to 5 years there is a provision that it will get further released. So, to that extent, the balance sheet of the central bank gets adjusted and the reserves get adjusted.
All right. So, from here, the next thing that strikes the mind is the expenditure on part of the government of this amount. Now, we know that there are many important areas which the government has to focus on, upping the consumption demand when we talk of it, and also economic growth is another area of concern for the government at present. So, according to you, what are the key areas which need the immediate attention of the government to ensure optimal use optimal, disbursement of the funds which have been given to the government?
Yes, now that is how do we prudently use this money, optimally utilize this money, and I think that's very important. You know that there was a stress on the government, especially in the last few weeks. The government had to roll back some of the tax rates which had been announced. Also, there's been some slowdown in the economy. The Reserve Bank recognized that the growth rate is coming from 7 to 6.9%, and there were other estimates also. Then the issue is how should we use this money? Should it be used as a stimulus, or should it be used to sustain consumption? Now, in the last week, if you would have noticed, the Honorable Finance Minister made some concessions as far as specific on the infrastructure. 100 lakh crores for the next 5 years, and on the automobile industry. And then she also announced that she is going to come next week, which is the current week, something to do with housing, and there's a probability she'll also come next week with some more packages. Now, all of them are have fiscal implications. So, to that extent, this 1,76 crore is certainly going to be handy. Now, if you remember, in the last meeting of the Honorable FM, there was a mention that they are going to front load 70,000 crore, which is going to be given to the banks. Now, there is some liquidity problems with the non-banking finance companies also. If they have to kickstart the economy, sort of give it a boost, this money should become really handy. 70,000 crore to be given front loaded, that will certainly help. In case some money has to be given for the housing sector, say to the National Housing Bank 30,000 odd crore, which was discussed last time. And if during the current week, if she has some program and money has to be used, then this amount really becomes handy. So, I think this amount has come at the time when it is really required. The last point I would like to make is, when there are fiscal stresses, there is always some strain on the gross fiscal deficit. Now, that can slip from 3.3, 3.4% of GDP to something more in case there is slowdown in the tax collections and all that. Now, this amount which is coming in is probably going to boost that up, and there will be no slippage there. That means the rating agencies would be fully satisfied that India is, whatever said and done within the government and within the RBI and within the government, there are some readjustments done, but the gross fiscal deficit will be something which the world watches, will be within the prudent limit.
All right, so we end this discussion on a note of optimism. Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, for joining us in Midday Prime this afternoon. All right, Mark, so that was it. When we talk of the world of finance, it's back to you.
Thanks very much, Preeti and Dr. Charan Singh, for that very enlightening discussion. And moving on to our next story and, in fact, our next segment, which is on world news. We're going to look at what's making news across the world. The G7 summit in Biarritz, a town of France, has concluded, and relief and commitments towards environmental concerns were addressed. The UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, also the United States decided to fund an emergency donation of $22 million to fight the fires in the Amazon. But that decision was announced by the host country, French President Emmanuel Macron. However, Brazil has reportedly rejected this aid from G7 countries to fight the wildfires in the Amazon. A top official told French President Emmanuel Macron to take care of his home and colonies. The chief of staff to the president, Jair Bolsonaro, Onyx Lorenzoni, that's the name of the person who is the aide to the president. And he said he is quoted by the media reports as saying that the Brazilian government has appreciated this offer, but those resources are probably more relevant to reforest Europe. And in Peru, locals took up brooms, shovels and branches to fight back advancing fires. This is at the Ampe Natural Reserve in the Apurimac region, and over 140 hectares of forests have been burned so far. So this country is also battling nearly 150 forest fires in the dry season. These fires in Peru come as the neighboring Brazil struggles to control tens of thousands of fires in the Amazon region. A sad state of affairs indeed. And the US President Donald Trump said that he was prepared to meet his Iranian counterpart, Hassan Rouhani. This is in the next few weeks after talks over Tehran's nuclear program at the G7 summit in France. Also, Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif made a surprise appearance on the sidelines of the summit in Biarritz at the invitation of the French President Emmanuel Macron. However, Macron said that the conditions for the meeting between Trump and Rouhani, these conditions have been created through intensive diplomacy and consultations. So at a joint press conference with Macron, President Trump said that if the circumstances are correct, he has no problem. He would certainly agree to meet. But he was asked by reporters if he thought the timeline proposed by Macron sounded realistic, and Trump said that it does. And he added that he thought Rouhani too should be in its favor. So the US president last year, in fact, had unilaterally pulled out of a landmark 2015 international deal that had placed limits on Tehran's nuclear activities in exchange for trade. Johnson & Johnson has been found liable for fueling an opioid epidemic in Oklahoma by deceptively marketing painkillers. What does this mean actually? It means that the drug maker was using a form of opium inside its drugs, and that has created a sort of addiction. And so now they've been asked to pay damages of $572 million, over which it's going to be to address this epidemic over the next 30 years through addiction treatment and prevention programs. So Johnson & Johnson has, however, denied any wrongdoing, saying that its marketing claims had scientific support and that its painkillers actually accounted for a tiny fraction of opioids prescribed in Oklahoma. Thus, it said that it would appeal against this decision. The case brought by Oklahoma Attorney General was the first to go to trial out of thousands of lawsuits filed by the state and local governments against opioid manufacturers and distributors. So it's time now for news from the world of sports. Let's begin with the US Open. Novak Djokovic began his US Open title defense in style. 6-4, 6-1, 6-4 with a win over Spaniard Roberto Carballas in the first round action, which took place on Monday. The top-seeded Serbian, who has claimed 4 of the last 5 Grand Slam titles, took some time to settle down in his first career meeting with Carballas Baena. But after a tight first set, was off to the races in a notch. And he, in fact, up next for Djokovic will be the Argentine Juan Ignacio Londero. And Londero, in fact, saw off the American Sam Querrey in 4 sets. And the French Open champion Ash Barty survived a first-round scare. The US Open staving off 25-year-old Zarina Diaz. 1-6, 6-3, 6-1. That first set was quite a thrashing. But after that, she gained her composure. She was struggling to find her footing as the action kicked off at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. But the 23-year-old Australian, who reached the 4th round last year, appeared to be back in form by the 3rd set, getting in nearly 2/3 of her first serves and firing off 12 winners. The 3rd-seeded Karolina Pliskova survived a tough encounter. This is against the Czech Terina Martinkova, coming through 2 tie breaks and claiming victory 7-6, 7-6. Riley Opelka secured an upset victory, defeating the 11th seed Fabio Fognini 6-4, 6-3, 6-7, 6-3 to win his first main draw match at the tournament. Next up for Opelka is the 2nd round meeting, and this time with qualifier Dominic Corfleur or the Spaniard Wamer Munar. And Kristina Mladenovic upset the former world number 1 Angelique Kerber 7-5, love 6, 6-4 on Monday to put an early end to the 2016 US Open champions bid for a second trophy at the Flushing Meadows. But the outcome registered as a surprise and not quite a shock, as Kerber in recent months has not looked like the player who had won the US Open and the Australian Opens in 2016 before capturing the Wimbledon championship last year. Well, the last Grand Slam of the year, the US Open, started on a cheerful note for Indian tennis fans. The 22-year-old Sumit Nagal from Jhajjar in Haryana won the opening set in his first match against the giant, the greatest player of all time, some people say, Roger Federer, who has won 20 Grand Slam titles in his career so far. Nagal managed to, in fact, keep Federer in check in the first set and eventually took the first set and the lead in the match. He won the first set 6-4, but then lost the match.
Playing the most important first Grand Slam match of his career, that too against legendary third seed Roger Federer, qualifier Sumit Nagal put up a great fight before losing in four-setter in the US Open. Roger Federer won 4-6, 6-1, 6-2, 6-4. The Jhajjar-born Haryana player did not hesitate to play his strokes and serving well. In fact, his campaign in his first ever main draw of Grand Slam. Nagal lost but did not disappoint.
Stay with him. It was a tough first set for me because I had the lead, so things were looking good for me, but he came back and played very strong, so credit to him to really play a solid first set. You know, I was missing a lot of balls and I was trying to cut back on the unforced errors and hopefully serve a bit better, because that also let me down, but it all came back just in time, and at the end I played actually good tennis. I'm happy.
In the much anticipated clash, Sumit Nagal took a set off the iconic Roger Federer before fizzling out. After giving a glimpse of his talent, Nagal lost, but the fighting spirit shone through in his dream Grand Slam debut. Nagal became only the fourth Indian to win a set in the main draw of a Grand Slam in the last 20 years. What made it special was that it came against Federer, a colossal figure with 20 Grand Slam to his credit. Sports Desk, DD News.
Well, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi met world champion PV Sindhu, and he called her India's pride. Of course, she's a champion who has brought home a gold and lots of glory, is what the Prime Minister said. Sindhu became the first Indian to be crowned world badminton champion in Switzerland after she beat Nozomi Okuhara. Thrashed her, in fact, 21-7, 21-7. Quite a significant victory for PV Sindhu, and a great day for India as well. Prime Minister there talking to the world badminton champion PV Sindhu, along with the Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju. This happened earlier in the day today. The Prime Minister was, of course, very pleased to have met Sindhu, and very proud of her as well. Now it's time for our next segment, which is Live Prime. We're going to bring you some stories from the world of art, culture and cinema. Well, in a display of faith and patriotism, Kiran Ishar from Poonch has decided to take the Lord Ganesha idol from Mumbai to Poonch in Jammu and Kashmir to celebrate Ganesh Utsav. This is going to be near the line of control. And she's taking 3 idols of Lord Ganesha and a 6.5-foot idol called India Park Border Cha Raja. Kiran has been doing it for the last 10 years, in fact, to boost the morale of Jawans guarding the borders and also to instill a feeling of harmony among citizens. The annual extravagant gig, which sees musicians, pop stars, rock stars from across the world, the MTV's VMA, that's the Video Music Awards. It's a festival in itself. It's held in Newark, in New Jersey, and the award saw some of the famous names in the world of music bagging major titles. Taylor Swift emerged as the winner of the Video of the Year for her song You Need to Calm Down. On the other hand, Camila Cabello and Shawn Mendes, the duet on Senorita reached #1 on the Billboard singles chart and won a statuette for Best Collaboration. In hip-hop category, often regarded as a male-dominated genre, Cardi B was awarded for the Best Hip-Hop Video for her song, Money. In what's considered to be a lifetime award, Missy Elliott received the Video Vanguard Award. This is in celebration of her decades-long career, making her the first female MC to be awarded with this title. Well, that's all we have for you in Midday Prime today, but we'll keep you updated on the major stories of the day. Also, the UN Convention meet that's to be held in New Delhi from the 2nd to the 13th of September. Keep watching DD News. Namaskar.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Global Scan, a show that gives you a 360-degree view of major global developments and brings out India's foreign policy perspective towards the neighborhood and beyond. On the show today, the Asia-Pacific group of the Financial Action Task Force has put Pakistan in the enhanced expedited follow-up list or blacklist after finding that it did not comply on 32 compliance parameters of terror financing and money laundering. Also on the show, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits France in his first visit to a European country in his second term as Prime Minister. All that and more in Global Scan. I'm Munun Bhattacharya. First up, the headlines. Another setback for Pakistan. Asia-Pacific group of the global watchdog for terror financing and money laundering, the Financial Action Task Force, puts Pakistan in enhanced blacklist for its failure to meet its standards. US, UK and Canada slam China and Pakistan for persecuting minorities at a United Nations meet, raise issue of suppression of religious freedom by both the countries. India and France ties touch a new high. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron. Both leaders discuss a wide range of issues. Fires rage at a record rate in Brazil's Amazon rainforest. World leaders express concern. French President Emmanuel Macron calls Amazon rainforest fires an international crisis. Sudan gets a new prime minister as the country embarks on a 3-year transition to civilian rule. Abdallah Hamdok vows to rebuild Sudan's battered economy. Pakistan has suffered another setback on the global platform. The Asia-Pacific group of the global watchdog for terror financing and money laundering has put Pakistan in the enhanced expedited follow-up list or blacklist for its failure to meet its standards. The Asia-Pacific group of the Financial Action Task Force has also found that Pakistan